Hey, I just wanted to say good morning, everyone. Yesterday I'd really hoped to do a live video. Welcome, by the way, to all of you joining me on my YouTube channel here. I am Erica Small Coffee. I am an arts educator and practicing artist, and I just wanted to share a lesson with you today that I shared live on my Facebook feed yesterday. So the first thing that I'm going to do, this is aimed at younger people. I want to make sure I have a pencil and I have something to color with. So this could be crayons, it could be pencil crayons. It's entirely up to you. Even if you have watercolors, that would be really beautiful. Today I'm just going to work fairly quickly because I don't want the video to be so long that it takes forever to upload. So I am working today in my sketchbook, and I'm going to be doing some hands for hand washing. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to be tracing my hand. And remember, when we're tracing our hand, we want to try to keep our pencil nice and upright. We don't want to slant it because then our fingers will turn out strange shapes. So I'm going to start over on the left hand far edge of the page because I want both of my hands to fit here. So I'm going to go around each finger all the way, and my thumb, all the way to the bottom of the page. Now, to get both of those hands, of course, it's very difficult to trace with my hand I don't normally draw with. So I'm just going to flip my hand over. It's going to make exactly the same shape, but a mirror image. It is reversed. And if you can kind of get it so that they are even, there we go. And I'm just going to go around each finger again, trying to keep my pencil nice and upright. Now I have my two hands. So once I have that done, I can move on to my crayons because this, of course, was just for the tracing part. And you can trace in crayon too if you want. I just find, especially with little people, sometimes we have a hard time getting those shapes right on the first go. So now I'm going to pick a color for some beautiful soap bubbles, and I am just going to keep them spread out on my fingers, remembering that when we do our hand washing, we want to make sure that we get all of our fingers. I'm just going to add some around the outside because I have some plans for the middle of the hands. So we'll do some big soap bubbles and some little soap bubbles, and I'm leaving this top part open. Now, we've seen some really beautiful things over the last few days of artists sharing their practices with everyone, and I have some stuff posted on my Facebook that I shot live. And I'm also trying to put some more stuff on YouTube. It is going to take me a few days just to get that on there. So again, just adding some of these soap bubbles. All right, so there was some debate yesterday, and I still didn't have time to look it up, but we talked about the rainbow because that is an image that we're seeing repeated a lot, especially it started in Italy. And people were drawing beautiful rainbows and sharing them on their balconies and in their windows so that all their neighbors could see. So I thought it was a really good time to review the colors of our rainbow. So we're going to start with red. Of course, many of you have learned the rainbow in Roy G. Biv. So that's what we're going to do today. I've got my red crayon, my orange crayon, my yellow crayon, nice bright green crayon, I can't tell if that one's blue or not, a blue crayon, and then the tricky one, the indigo crayon. With that one, I think I'm just going to use this denim color because I don't see my indigo crayon right offhand. And then a purple crayon to finish it off. So we have here our Roy G. Biv. And I'm just going to take that and I'm going to start on my ring finger here so that I have enough room. I'm going to try to arc up towards the middle of my page. And then I'm going to either start back down here and meet up with it, or I'm going to come down towards my ring finger on the other side. So I know in my classroom recently, we've been talking about the elements of art specifically, but we talked about the characteristic of line. So line can have direction, line can have width. So this line has an arc direction and it's a little bit wide. So I'm thickening up these rainbow stripes just by going back and forth, and I'm going in the same direction as my rainbow. Now you may find it easier, I'll show you a different way with the next color, to color between two lines. So I've got my red, my orange. Now a trick that you can do is you can try, if you're really good at checking distance, you can try to create an arc that leaves a little bit of room between your line and your red. And then you can color in between them instead of just trying to make a thicker line. Now, ideally, we're going to go right up against that red. Ideally, these are going to be the same width. They're going to have the same thickness. They're going to be the same. Each stripe is going to be the same width. So I'm going to continue coloring on here, and then my next one, is my yellow. Now hopefully everybody at home is practicing excellent hand washing. We usually wait when we're making a project. Sometimes we get art materials on our hands. Today we're working with crayons, so it shouldn't be too messy. But when we get stuff on our hands, usually we wait till the end of the art lesson to clean up, unless we think we're going to spread our art material everywhere. Always important after you touch your art supplies, when you're all done and ready to put it away, that you make sure to wash your hands really well. So my next one is my green. We had St. Patrick's Day this week. A lot of people were wearing their green and thinking about the green color. And although still here in Moncton, New Brunswick, it's very, very snowy, I have noticed that the trees are starting to show a little tiny bit of evidence that they might get green soon. So after our green, do our blue. Oh, this rainbow is starting to look very nice. I hope your rainbow at home is looking nice as well. So, I love coloring. I hope you do too. Having some time at home has given us all extra time to draw. So this is sort of a dark blue color. It's pretty close to indigo, I would say. And if you are Canadian or British, you've probably heard of the next color as violet, as in Roy G. Biv. But in Canada, I think it might be Britain as well, they call it purple. So it's funny, on our crayons here, we have French and English, and it says violet and in parentheses purple. So I'll finish up that color. Oh, this rainbow is looking great. All right, so now a couple things to finish up our drawing. I'm gonna make these like soap bubble clouds at the bottom. I'm gonna take a blue crayon. It doesn't have to be the same color of blue that you had before. And I'm gonna make lots and lots of sudsy bubbles, almost like clouds, right at the bottom. And then I'm going to spread these up to my fingers that I can see. So now it's safe to make your hands all soapy. As soapy as you want them to be. So if you're using soap to wash your hands, remember, you only need a little tiny bit of soap sometimes to make lots of sudsy bubbles. So now I'm just going to color some of those bubbles in a bit really quickly. You can go as slowly as you want though. You don't have to follow along at my speed. I draw quite a bit so I can get pretty quick at doing it. And if you haven't figured it out already, you can obviously pause the video anytime you need to in order to catch up. Don't feel like you have to rush. Drawing is a really, just let yourself have fun. It's a fun thing to do. And it can be relaxing if you do it slowly. And we always try to do our best when we are drawing, but our best is different than everybody else's best. So that best is going to look, yours is not going to look exactly the same as mine. I'm just going to switch up my blue a little. Maybe add just a tiny bit of detail to these. Switch up some of my bubbles here. These ones are really big. So I would say that's just about done. The only thing left is picking an appropriate color for your hands. Now you can do them the color of your own hands. You could mirror your own hands. If you normally wear jewelry, that would be entirely up to you. You could be doing them palms up, right? They were like this. And so you're just going to pick an appropriate color for you. I think this color is fun. This color is called Melon. And just quickly color them in. It's kind of a peachy color, almost like it's a pinky peach, almost not quite cantaloupe. It's not orange enough to be a cantaloupe. I wonder what color of melon they were thinking of when they came up with the name for this crayon. That's always a fun activity, seeing if you can read the names of your colors on your crayons at home. I'll just get all my fingers colored. And of course, I'm not really coloring the ones too much that have the rainbows in front of them. But you could do that. If you had lots of white gaps here, you could show them through if you wanted. Not to say that my way of doing it is the only way, because it absolutely is not. So then, a lot of times we think of things as having big black outlines because a lot of us learn to color in coloring books. And but that's not really how things are in real life so much. So what I usually do is I pick a color that is a little bit darker and is in the same color family. So things that would be in the same color family would be like pinks for me. Or maybe they're a darker brown for you. Maybe they're more like this. And not to say that if you didn't do, right, like if you did your hands a dark brown, then you could totally go around them with black. That would make sense in that situation. But if your hands are light like mine, you would go around maybe in a different color. So I'm going to choose this one. I think it's a little bit darker. Yep. And I'm just going to go over that pencil a little bit. And if you were doing this in watercolor, I mean, they might not need an outline at all. You don't need to outline. Sometimes it's just nice to add a little bit of an edge to your drawing. And you can even, if you are getting good at practicing your pressure with your crayon, you can press a little bit gentler and go in like this and actually make your hand look three-dimensional. You could even, if you wanted, you could start thinking about those lines that are on your hands. So like this sort of thing, where my knuckles are, where my fingers bend. And so you would look at those shapes and the directions of the lines. Now, of course, if I was drawing my palm, I don't see my fingernails, but if that was something you wanted to include, you absolutely could. If you drew your hands the other way, you could draw your fingernails on there, and maybe you have really pretty fingernail polish, and that's something that you wanted to accentuate in your drawing. So I think I'm just about done for the day, just for this one. And again, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I appreciate being able to draw every day and share my drawing with people. I'm used to teaching every day, and I'm finding it a little bit lonely at home without my students and not seeing the joy that everybody has when they're making art. So if you want to share your drawing with me, you absolutely can. If you go to my website, it is www.smallcoffee.ca. There is a contact area on there, and you can feel free to contact me, and I'll try to get back to as many people as I can. And then maybe we can figure out a way to post your drawings as well. So remember, wash your hands and have an excellent artful day. Bye.